all live down the street, so meet when you need it.
Hey everyone, if you want to learn how to make this juicy chicken parmesan, please keep watching. I'm going to include all of the directions, recipe, and measurements in the description box below. Okay, so you're going to need 2 large chicken breasts, 2 eggs, 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of cheese, parsley, garlic powder, pepper, salt, breadcrumbs, ragu, and flour. Okay, so once you have your chicken breast, you're going to go ahead and cut off all the white fatty parts. Just cut off all the parts that are really just hanging off. Then you're going to go ahead and cut each of the chicken breasts in half. Trust me, the thinner you can get it, the better. It really doesn't have to be even though. Okay, folks, now we're going to go ahead and clean the chicken. What you saw me do was put some water, salt, rinse, and I'm going to do this a couple of times. Just make sure the water is cool and definitely not hot or warm, but yeah, I do it a couple of times here. Okay, here I'm going to start seasoning the chicken with some pepper. Just make sure that you coat it pretty evenly on each side. I don't typically measure, I kind of eyeball things, but I'm going to put in the description below what the measurement should be, approximately. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with the garlic powder, just a pretty good even coat all the way across. Light amount of salt, don't put too much just because the breadcrumbs will have enough seasoning in there. Flip them over and go ahead and start doing the same thing on the other side. Again, please just really don't put too much salt because the Italian breadcrumbs have a lot of seasoning and salt already in there. But yeah, just go ahead and repeat the same thing with the pepper, the garlic powder, and a little bit of salt. Once you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and start rubbing all of that in on each side. Just really get it in there in the chicken. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm cracking 2 eggs. And I'm shortly about to add milk in order to create the wash that we're going to use in between coating with the flour and the Italian breadcrumbs. Okay, so this is the order that you're going to go ahead and do the coating. You're going to use the egg, go to the flour, back to the egg, to the Italian breadcrumbs. Okay, so you're going to coat the breast with the egg wash first. Then you're going to take it to the flour. Just make sure that once it's in the flour, it's very evenly coated. You want to make sure that there's no egg. You want to definitely get it all the way covered in the flour. Go ahead and then put it back in the egg. And again, make sure it's all covered in egg. Then put it in the Italian breadcrumbs and go ahead and get that evenly coated as well to finish up the coating for the chicken breast. This is what it's going to look like when it's completely done. If there's a little bit poking through, that is perfectly fine. Okay, so now we're getting to the part where we're actually going to fry the chicken on top of the stove. And it's going to be for 2.5, probably about 3 minutes on each side. If you have a thicker pan, I would go ahead and only put it for 2.5. Just make sure it's brown on each side. And the reason that we're doing this is we're going to cook it on top of the stove, and then we're going to put it in the stove for 15 minutes, and this will make sure that it's very juicy and it's not hard like when you overcook some chicken. So this is what's really going to make or break the way that the chicken parmesan will taste. Okay, so all of them are done. You're going to take the ragu and you're going to just put it down the middle. It's not good to saturate it too much and just be too liquidy all over the place. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. and I'm just smearing it over just a little bit, just down the middle, just to be a little bit more evenly. So then we're going to go ahead and take the cheese, the Parmesan. I'm using Parmesan mozzarella, and you're going to just sprinkle it down the middle. Really, I'm going to put down that you should use about 1 cup. You can use more or less. It's really your preference. And just keep in mind it will melt while it's in the oven, so it will spread out, so don't use way too much. And boom.